Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to the June 25th episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host. Rhonda, you need to unmute your mic.
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And if y'all are wondering why we're both wearing crowns, we decided this is our birthday week show. So my birthday was last Wednesday, which was last week after last week's show. And Rhonda's is on Saturday after the show. So this is our birthday week show, and our birthdays are very close together. So that's why we get along so exceptionally. And we've never had an argument, not even a disagreement.
That's true. And we've been friends for years.
Years. We've never had a disagreement or anything. If we don't agree, the other person just says, okay, and whatever. I mean, it's no big deal.
Right.
So anyway, welcome to the show. And we really appreciate you all tuning in. And we have an exceptional lineup for you again tonight. Every week is exceptional. So before we get started, I do want to let people know the National Black Book Festival is at 97% vendor capacity. That's almost 100%. So
what, you have like 2 people left, 2 seats left?
Two left. That's it.
Wow.
And we probably won't have a waiting list because we're really a little bit past capacity. So if you want to get in on this year, we sold out a lot earlier this year than we did. We're almost a month earlier than we were last year as far as sellout. So if you all want to sign up, I would suggest you do it very, very soon. So, and also for the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards, we'll be announcing the finalists on the August 13th show. So it'll be the second half of the show when we do that. And finally, next week, because it's 4th of July week, we won't have a show because a lot of people are on vacation or whatever. And I don't know, Rhonda might even be taking a vacation. I'm not, because I got several trips coming up like in the next several months, like something every month. So I'm going to lay low, rest, read some books, read some of the books on my to be read shelf. So
And you'll be proud of me. I am actually physically reading a book right now.
Oh, okay. I am too, but that's what I always do. What are you reading before we bring on Asa?
What's the name of her book? The last book in the series for Mary Monroe.
Oh, okay. Not the new one. Are you in the new one?
No, not the new one. Was it Empty Vows or something like that?
Yes, Empty Vows.
Okay, that's the one. That's the one I'm reading now. But I had to buy a book light because really one of the reasons why I wasn't reading physical books is because I have a lamp next to my bed, but it's hooked to the switch. So I didn't want to be in bed reading a book and then have to get up and go turn off the light. So what I did was I bought myself a really cool book light that can also double as a bookmark. So I just slide it onto the pages. And so now I can lay in bed at night and read my book. And then when I'm done, I just turn the little light off and go to sleep.
Okay. And you're already almost halfway there sometimes if you're reading in bed. I know, if it's too close to sleep time, then that book ends up dropping my, then I know, that's when I know, okay, I need to just go to sleep. I'm reading The Reformatory by Tenn.
Oh, that's my next book, but I'm reading that. I'm going to be doing that one on audio.
Okay. All right. It's good. She's an amazing writer. So I'm about, it's like 500 pages.
Yes.
I'm 130 pages in. So but it's good.
Okay. Now, normally that would mean you'd be halfway over, but that's a long book. So
Yeah, it's a long book. So, okay, so we're going to bring on our first guest. And she is no stranger to the show. And her name is A.C. Arthur. And she's been on the show before as an author. And she's back as an author. But she's also here because she has an event coming up called the One Love Reunion. And
nice.
we
I like
want
the name.
her to talk about the One Love Reunion. So as soon as her actual video comes on, we're going to have AC on. And I don't have the date for her event in front of me, so she'll tell us the actual dates. I think it's in July. So
Hi.
hi AC, welcome
Hello,
back
hello.
to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hi, thank you for having me back again.
You are welcome. And you are in event preparation mode about now, right?
I am. And that's a nice way to put it. That's not the wording I would use for it right about now.
I like to call it running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yes, times 25. Times 25.
Yeah, it's high stress when the month before, for me, the month before ours, because the rest of everything else I can space out because we plan a year ahead. But that last month, there's always some kind of glitch or some emergency or something unexpected happens that last month, or it's just
no matter
so
how
much
early
to do.
you start planning, it's always the last minute things.
It's always it doesn't
And that's
matter
the thing.
for a year.
You try to do so much ahead of time.
Yes.
And every year, because we plan a year ahead as well. And every year I say, okay, we're going to start this earlier. We're going to do this even earlier. We're going to start this and we're going to do this. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The last 3 or 4 weeks are just chaotic.
Yeah, they are. Regardless. This year
I
we
think
were
it's
able.
also, it says a lot about you though, because one of the reasons why it gets chaotic and so many little things are happening is because you're considering all of the details. And you want it to be a special event. So it says a lot about you that you're not letting these little things pass.
No, some days I wish I could though. Some days I'm like, you really got to let this go, and it's gonna work out. Just let some of the stuff go, but I don't. And no matter, like I said, no matter how much planning goes into it, and I have a really great team, but at the end of the day, it still falls on me.
Yeah.
So I'm very conscientious about making sure that I know every single thing. I'm on top of every single thing. I guess that can kind of be construed as controlling, but also, I want people are paying for this event. So I want everybody to come and I want them to have a good time. I want things to go well. I know that in the end, I don't have 110% control over how well something goes. And something always happens. People don't always see behind the scenes.
They never see
things will be right. Things will be happening and they'll just be, oh, this was great. We had a great time. And I was like,
but you feel like
idea.
everybody knows and you're like, oh, it's terrible. Nobody's coming back. They all just saw how crazy everything was and they didn't
exactly.
Yeah, and then they don't know what fires you may have had to put out in the course of the event that you never talk about, and they're never public. Well, hopefully never not public, but there's little things that happen here and there. Just and some can be small, some can be big. Hopefully not too big, but and even though we have an excellent team for the National Black Book Festival, but I have to make sure I have everything prepared for the team managers.
Right.
For the managers, I what I do is for, like, if they're over a particular event, I put everything in a bin, everything they need for the event. I put the agenda, if they have door prizes, if they're playing a game, if whatever they're doing, it goes in that bin. And so when they get there, all I do is have to hand them the bin, and that's it. We don't even have to talk. But it takes
Gwen, at least say hi to the people now.
No, I've already seen them before they get the band because they've been working, staying up late, doing setup. You haven't been there for the nighttime setup, which goes from 1 to 2 a.m. Then we have to be back there for the early morning. So they've been there already. That's a team. That's the kind of team you need. That's just with you to the bitter end. And Rhonda's part of that team. And what she does is she does the interviewing throughout the event. So the night before, she gets to rest up and think about her questions, think about all the stuff that she's gonna be doing, so she can be fresh on the camera because she does live streaming and stuff. So she's well rested.
Yes. But
sometimes you do
One Love.
Huh?
No,
yeah, tell us about the One Love. Tell us about the One Love reunion.
Oh, so One Love reunion this year we're celebrating our 10th year.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. The dates of this year's event is July 17th through the 20th. And we will be in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Sheraton Music City Resort, which is a beautiful resort. We're about 10 minutes away from the African American Music Museum, which I've been to Nashville 4 times to prepare for this event. And only on this last visit did I get a chance to actually visit the museum. And I made sure to do that on this last visit because I know I won't have time to do it when we go in July. Right. But One Love did not start as One Love. It actually started as just a reader event for me. A few of my readers thought it would be a good idea if I had a reader event for readers to come out and have a place to talk about my books. And I didn't think anybody would show up. So I was like, well, we're only going to have 20 people. We'll just cut it off at 20 people. Because I figured at worst case scenario, I could get my family to fill in the 20 people and then it would look full and I wouldn't look like nobody showed up for me. And actually, we ended up having a lot of other people after the 20 tickets sold out wanting to come. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I could have opened it up to more. But it was still my first one. So I was like, 20 is good. The next year we didn't have a cap because they were like, this is just foolish. Why are you even doing a cap? So we didn't have a cap. It grew a little more. The next year it grew and then it grew again. And eventually I started to feel like this needed to have a bigger purpose for it to continue to move on. I couldn't keep taking time out to plan something that really was just about me and my books. I wanted it to serve a bigger purpose and to open its arms to so many more readers and authors. So I immediately started asking other authors to come because again, then that meant I didn't have to be there by myself. And then I didn't have to feel like, oh my gosh, nobody might not come and see me. So if I had other authors come, then that pressure was off my shoulders. So I had already started inviting new authors. And as events grow, you'll know because you're an event planner too, as events grow, so do the expenses, so does the stress, so does the time. And eventually my husband and I, we were like, yeah, this has to mean something more. This has to do something more than what it's doing now. Otherwise, is this really worth the time, the effort, and the money? So I prayed about it because I didn't know the answer. Like I knew there was something I wanted to do. I just wasn't sure what it was supposed to look like and what else it was going to require of me. And I thought, well, if there's no answer, then that means I'm not going to do it. I am extremely impatient. So even in the waiting, I was like, well, I should probably have a backup plan, even if this is not the thing I'm supposed to do. And as I continued to plan, it was just more revealed to me. The purpose of this event was shown to me. And I was able to really concentrate on what this is supposed to be. when I first started writing, I went to a lot of conferences. I went to a lot of book signings, and I didn't always feel comfortable. I didn't always feel like this was the place for me. Or even when the readers were coming, if I was at a book signing and readers were walking past my table and going to another author, and I would be in the middle of 3, 4 authors, and they're selling out, and nobody was coming to my table, and I felt like it was because this wasn't my audience. I wasn't supposed to be in this space because I didn't belong in this space. And I hate to ever feel like I don't belong, because I belong where I am. But that feeling was still there, and I went to so many events, and I kept going every year. I was determined. I was like, well, I'm writing books, and my books are just as good as anybody else's, so I'm gonna show up. And to this day, I still go to a lot of different events just because I'm an author too. So I'm still going to show up. But I wanted a place where I felt comfortable, where readers felt comfortable, where readers could go and see authors who they loved, who they'd been reading their books all year, and they could sit and have a conversation with them. It wasn't about just run up to the table and get your book signed and then run away and go somewhere else and get your book signed. Like, I wanted there to be time to have personal conversations. And so that's how the One Love reunion came about, because I always thought of these yearly meetings as time to be with my literary family. And so it was like, we're going to this family reunion. So that's what we do. We get together and we have a lot of fun. When we plan the program, we are thinking about how can we have the most fun with this. A lot of our panel sessions are really just games with the book characters, because readers love all the characters, so they get to know the characters more. They're meeting their favorite authors, and they're seeing their favorite authors in a very comfortable setting that you don't usually see them. You usually see them just online, or if you go to a book signing and you go to a table. Your time with an author is very limited at a book signing, because they have to sign and they have to move on.
Right.
I know for me, a lot of times readers will come up and they'll say, "Oh, write something special in my book, write something long, write something meaningful." And I'm like, okay, well, one, there are people behind you in this line. And two, I can't think that fast. I know you're holding this book with 100,000 words in it that I have written, but really I can't think that fast. This didn't come that fast. I have to take time to do this. And I don't have that time with each individual reader just at a book signing. But at One Love, I don't do a lot of panels and stuff. I'm always working at One Love. So I'm not, I kind of forget that I'm an author too. And so in the last year or so, my team has been like, no, you have to put something on the schedule because you never show up as the author. And I'm like, no, because I'm doing all the other stuff, but I'm trying to show up as both in the coming years. Just so, but I'm still there, and readers see me and they're coming up to me and they're talking to me, and other authors, I'm meeting new authors and they're talking to me, and it's just a really comfortable setting. So I'm really proud of what it's become and what I feel like it can still grow into.
I know exactly what you mean when you're trying to host an event and you want to make sure that the people who paid to be a part of it have a great experience. And but you're trying to balance that with letting people know, hey, I'm an author as well. I still have books here, but you don't want the people who paid to be there to feel like they're competing with you. So I mean, it is a little bit of a tightrope that you walk. And it sounds like you've kind of figured out a good balance in how you do that. And I think that your team is right. Even if you have one segment that's all about you, maybe you're like the welcome speaker or something. That's what I had to learn to do, because when I do my Black History Month event, I try to make it all about the authors. But when I do the brunch, I want to make sure that I'm the one who's welcoming the people in. I want to give at least a little bit of a speech. And that way they know who you are. So so with all of that said though, is that what you do? Is it more of a welcome address, or do you teach a class, or is it like a book discussion?
So last year was the first year I was on the schedule again. and we do sessions called intimate sessions where there are just a few authors and then readers are in the room and they can just ask questions. It's very informal, whatever question. It's just like a Q&A. The readers can ask authors whatever they want. So when my team we were like, they were like, we have all these panels, be on one of these panels. And it's like, no, because, the other authors, they come and they want to be on the panel and they want to talk. And they're like, okay, well, we have the perfect thing. You can do an intimate session. And I was like, no, because then I'll be there by myself. And they were like, that is the point. So we did it, and it wasn't totally bad. I just sat there and I said it to everybody. And now everybody has to ask me questions because I'm horrible at just ad-libbing. Like I don't know what you want to hear. So just ask a whole bunch of questions. Do something to fill out this hour. And they did. And it was fine. It was great. This year, I am doing another one of those sessions, but it will focus on my longest running series, The Donovans. So that hour-long session will be like an in-depth discussion of The Donovans.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I tell people I never get to attend my festival. I'm working the entire because I try to stay stationary because I'm, coordinating the event, and then so the managers are on the floor or moving around. I try to stay stationary, so I never. One year I did a seminar based on my debt-free college book. I said, okay, I'm gonna try to carve out an hour to do this seminar, and the seminar went well. It was well attended, but as soon as it was over, I went back to the information desk, and somebody said, "When all hell broke loose after you left." Okay, I was only gone an hour. I don't even remember what happened, but anyways, it's just the way it is. But I get the satisfaction of all the people who come and say they were thrilled to be there and it was life-changing, and the attendees that come, because our event is open to the public unless it's free, unless you go to one of our eating special events where we have food catered. So most of them say they never knew there were that many Black authors. They're just amazed that it's over 100 in one room. So, but I do understand what you're saying about being the center of attention, sort of. I'm an extrovert. Introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm firmly on the introvert side.
Huh? I can do stuff in public, but then I have to come back and go in. It's like I can't just like be out there all the time. So because I like the quiet time. So now what made you pick Nashville? And your event moves around. So how do you decide where you're going to move, where you're going to be from one year to the next?
So another thing that I always keep in mind is when I used to decide which conferences and things I was going to go to, I would always look at places that I had never been. And then that way, my husband could come and then we bring the kids, and it would be like combined with a vacation. Because when I first started going out to conferences and things, like, my kids were in school, so we had daycare, and I just started out and I'm struggling with this writing thing. And it's like, well, this needs to be our family vacation. So we need to go to, anytime I would say, well, there's a conference here. Okay, well, what else is there? Is there like a beach? Is there like, so when I started having the events and I started, the first one was here, and well, the first two were here in Baltimore. And then I thought we'll go different places, and we'll have it in the summer, in the warmer months. And that way people can combine that with their vacation. So they don't have to feel like they're choosing between budgeting money for a book event and still having to do a vacation with their family. So we look at places that are going to be like tourist attractions, with where you can do other things. So we've done Disney World twice. We did a cruise. We did Vegas. We did Houston. So we kind of like bounce around. For the 10th celebration, we really wanted somewhere that was special, somewhere that would offer things to do, somewhere that had a lot of cultural things to do. So I don't even know who came up with Nashville. We talk about places all the time, and I always throw out places, and the team is always like, "Yeah, no, I don't like that." And then I'll come back and say, "This is what it is," and they're like, "Yeah, we knew you were gonna just decide." But we thought Nashville would be fun. And so we tied that in with and we always have a theme on the last evening. So our book signing is free and open to the public on Saturday morning, afternoon. And then Saturday evening, we always have our costume party. Just because, again, as adults, we don't always get the opportunity to dress up and dance and do different things. So we always have a themed costume party on Saturday evening. This year, the theme is denim and diamonds. The denim for Nashville, the diamonds for the 10th year celebration. So I think, people are really getting excited about that. Last year we were in Charleston and the theme was the Southern Belle.
Okay.
And so we have a costume contest, and the winner of that contest gets free admission the next year. So it's just a little added something for people to look forward to. And we always announce where we're going the next year at the costume party on Saturday evening.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
how far in advance do you choose the cities then? Now you're going to Nashville this year. And I'm guessing you've already chosen the next city because you're going to announce it.
Right.
So do you have your cities chosen for the next couple of years, or do you just
normally I don't. This year I do, just because we knew we wanted to do something different in 26. So that required us to get in and start kind of pre-planning that now. So we know what 25 is and we know what 26 is.
Okay. All right. Well, we know what all our years are because we stay in Houston. People ask us, I get messages all the time. When are you coming to where? Never. The answer is never. Okay, why don't you move? No, because here's the thing. Houston, we've got the cost worked out. We've got the cost worked out with the venue, with the caterer, the hotel. We have excellent room rates. Our rooms are, well, they were $89 a night for 10 years, and they just recently this year increased it by $6 to $95. That is an amazing rate. So the cost of just about everything in Houston is lower than most big cities. So, for us to try to move ourselves and move people, and we wouldn't be able to have free admission because it would just be too costly. And what I tell people is, when people say, well, why don't you come here? I say, okay, you find me a sponsor, or you can do it. Write me a check for $50,000, and then we'll consider it. That's it.
Yeah.
People
don't consider the cost, and there's definitely a cost in moving from city to city. What's actually been working out better for us is when we use the same hotel chain. So one year we did on the road, and that's the year we did Houston. We did two. We did Houston and we did Vegas, but we used only Marriott hotels. So that gave us a little bit. Yeah, that gave us a little bit of a discount. But definitely, if we had it in the same place, expenses would be lower. And we've thought about that over the years. Expenses would definitely be lower. But I feel like, we've created a brand now. So there's this expectation now. And so
and your event is you charge people. So you have a program around what you charge. And we keep our event is free to the public. So, we aren't able to, our revenue doesn't come in from that.
Right.
So
my question is, how do you, since you're going to a new city, especially like with Nashville, you said you've only been to Nashville 4 times. So how do you reach that reader base in those cities?
Oh, social media. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. One, because I don't love being social, but it is definitely the way to connect. You are going to always reach people on social media. And so we just put it out there constantly. This is where it is. We do targeted posts to when we were looking for influencers, and we were like, we specifically wanted influencers in the Nashville area. So that would open us up to that reader base there, so that they can get messages to readers there, that they could come out, especially for the free part of the book signing, because we do have a registration and it is a 3.5-day event. It's a big tag on that registration. You get two meals, all the panels, the parties. So there's a price to it.
Right.
And then there's the negotiating the room price. So there are a lot of things that go into it. And like I said, it definitely would be easier to just have it here in Baltimore every year, or just in one location every year. There are definitely perks to that, but we're in it now. This is what it is. So we have to keep this train moving.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, AC, tell people do you have room for more people to attend? Is your registration
We
closed?
are completely sold out this year. I'm so excited to say we are completely sold out.
There's a lot of that going around.
But like I said, the book signing is free and open to the public from 1 to 4 on July 20th at the Sheraton Music City Resort.
Okay, and your dates again are?
July 17th through the 20th.
And how can people at least connect with the event online so they can plan for next year?
Our website is onelovereunion.com. We are on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and Twitter as One Love Reunion, the number Love LUV Reunion. And actually, the interest form for authors who are interested in participating for 2025 is up on the website now.
Okay.
So early.
Now, and are you open to is it only romance authors, or is any genre or multiple genres or fiction genres?
So initially we were romance and women's fiction. We've had a lot of suspense and thrillers and fantasy. And so I think the committee, the author liaisons, kind of just go through and see what seems to mesh with our group of people. It's usually, though, I think women's fiction and romance, anything that's going to be along those lines. Fantasy is really big and thrillers are really big.
Okay. And finally, you did get the package I sent you?
I did. I have it all ready to go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right then. Well, AC, congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope your event is a smashing success, because I know how much work you put into it.
Thank you so much.
And love.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, and we'll see you again soon in some capacity.
In some capacity. We'll all be around.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for being on the show. And
thanks for having me.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Best wishes for your event.
Thank you so much.
Okay. For those who joined us a little later, and if you're wondering why we're both wearing crowns, this is the birthday show week, because my birthday was last week. Rhonda's is this week. So the show is in between our birthdays. So I had a happy one last week, and I'm sure Rhonda will have a great one this week.
Oh yeah, I have a whole birthday weekend planned.
You have a whole weekend planned. I didn't do a lot on my birthday this year because I have so many trips coming up that I said I'm just gonna save my energy and my money and for all these trips I have. So finally, if you all are in the New Orleans area or the New York, Harlem / area. Rhonda and I will be in both places. We'll be in New Orleans at the end of this month for the Black Librarians National Conference. And September 7th, we'll be at the Harlem Book Fair with their own tent and tables. We'll be selling our t-shirts. Me too. I'm excited about it, the whole thing. I'm in my mind, I'm working through what am I going to do, what am I going to take, and you know. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. So we're bringing on our next guest, and he has also been on the show before, but it's been a while. Rod Sanford. It's been at least a year since he was on the show. And so he's back with another book, and he'll tell you what his themes are for his books. He has a particular theme that he focuses on. So, Rod Sanford, welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you. Thank you. And happy birthday to both of you.
Oh, thank you very much.
And I tell you, the way Rhonda said, I've got plans for I want to go where she's going to be.
Well, apparently some of us are surprised. I don't know what I'm doing.
No, you got an idea. I can tell. I just want to drive the car. I mean, I'll stay out of trouble. Hold the coats or something. But no, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I've been riveted by your previous guests. This is why I love this venue, because I always find out. I've been writing for over 20 years, and I always find out about something that I didn't know, and I did not know. I admit to not knowing about the One Love reunion mechanism, and I can't imagine writing and then putting on what AC is doing. It just boggles my mind. I wouldn't, but so bless her, and I'm definitely a fan. So wherever she's at next year, then I'm going to try to be there. I'll find something I can put out there.
Well, connect with her on social media or a website, and she makes the announcement.
Yeah, no, I thank you all for this venue. I learn something all the time.
Well, we enjoy doing it. One thing that I did, because we're approaching, this is just some information for the audience and for you, and maybe Rhonda. We're approaching our 700th guest. It'll be sometime in the fall. It depends on, because sometimes it's not the 700th interview, it's the 700th guest. So, like you and AC, you all aren't counted again because you all have already been on the show. So we never know exactly where it's going to fall. But I said, you know what? I need to go back and count our episodes, because we've had a lot of episodes, and I counted them, and this is our 174th episode.
Wow, that is crazy.
It is crazy. When we get to 200, we have to celebrate that. We got a lot of celebrations. Yes. Our anniversary is the July 30th show. That'll be our 4th anniversary. So yeah, so
gotta write that going on. Gotta write that down.
Yeah, we've been around. We have longevity and consistency in our corner, because we've been consistently out there, and you've been consistently writing as well, and you focus a lot on Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Yes. So one of my dream vacations is to go to Martha's Vineyard.
Right.
I haven't been yet.
So Rhonda and I had a really great conversation the last time we were here, because all of my murder mysteries take place at cultural Black events. Right. And so to that end, dying hard at the Inkwell.
Okay.
So murder mystery.
You got to tell us what the Inkwell is before you jump into the story, because not everybody may know what the Inkwell is.
You're absolutely right. So during the time the civil rights movement, and even before then, there was a time, like in many places in America, Blacks were either limited or not allowed to go. And so in the Martha's Vineyard area, and that on the island, there was one portion of the beach that was segregated for our people, and it became colloquially known as the Inkwell. I think it started off as a bit of a negative comment, and then like we do, we flip it, turn it, and it becomes a term of endearment. And so it kind of matriculated through the culture. It was fictionalized in it was showcased in a Spike Lee movie by the same name, and so it still extends today. And so making sure that my Dying Heart series is an African American murder mystery series, and so I chose that title. And so yeah, it is a wonderful place. I've been there. I was there a couple of times and did quite a bit of research uh, for the book.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, so Dying Hard is real quick. Dying Hard, there's celebrity security, right? These are the guys in the black jackets and thing in their ear, making sure that celebrity's okay. There's Daryl, there's his partner, Terry Lovejoy, only female, and the two Bobbies, Bobby Jr., Bobby Sr. And so they're actually going on vacation. There's no mystery, at least not initially. They're going on vacation July 4th, Martha's Vineyard, which is a very distinct and important time for African Americans on Martha's Vineyard. There's a number of cultural things that go on at that time. There's during that time, well, it didn't take place on Martha's Vineyard, but it's reenacted there, is the famous Frederick Douglass speech about what is freedom to a slave. As America during the 19th century, celebrated its freedom and its liberties, he created a very poignant speech about, hey, what about us? Is essentially it. And so that speech is recreated and reenacted on Martha's Vineyards during the 4th of July every year. And so in this particular one, so the Paladins are going, Daryl, Terry, and the Bobbies, they're going there. They're going on vacation. It's right after the pandemic. Things are looking up. Lucius, Terry's boyfriend, has a very important question to ask on the vineyard. So everybody's very excited. And so they get there, and one of the people they meet is Irma Nanango. And make sure I wrote that name. I should be able to say it. Irma Nanango, who is a bit of a legend on the island. She is started as an immigrant teenager and is now grown to have multiple businesses. She's a bit of a legend, and just everybody loves her. But it wouldn't be a Dying Hard novel if things didn't go bad.
Right.
One night, there's an opening for a new museum opening called the Healing Stones of Tanzania. And the opening is a big success. But the newly engaged couple have a fight. And unfortunately, Miss Irma is murdered.
Mm.
And the stones are stolen.
Wait, so the big lady on campus, so to speak, is murdered and somebody steals the stones.
Yes, all in one night.
Oh, wow.
So the Paladins go from vacation to investigation all in one night. And so that's how Dying Hard at the Inkwell jumps off. And like I said, in most of my Dying Hearts mysteries, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's sub characters that are a little shady. Some we're not sure if they're enemies or friends. Yeah, but
okay. So what kind of led you in the path of writing in the mystery genre?
Oh wow, yeah. It was and I was listening to AC earlier, and she talked about trying to find a place where you felt you belonged as a writer. My first two novels were romance, and this is going back 2004, and I'm very proud of them. They're still out there for sale, and and so I fashioned myself as maybe a bit of a Michael Baisden or Eric Jerome Dickey.
Okay.
Omar Tyree. Yeah. Man, when I wrote my first murder mystery, which was the first Dying Hard in the Big Easy in New Orleans, things just took off. They sold well. I don't know, maybe I was a little more believable in mystery than in romance. I don't know.
Well, in your romances, was the lead character a man or a woman, a male or female?
Good question. No, they were women. They were women.
Okay, so you were writing from a female point of view?
Trying to.
Hey.
But you know,
now, how
one
do
of
you
the things,
do that? I mean,
yeah.
I'm always enchanted by people who write from the opposite sex point of view, because it's not easy.
Well,
A lot of
no,
times
it's
I
not.
think I know what a man is thinking, and then I'll show what I wrote to a man, and he'll be like, men won't say that. I'm like, maybe you won't say it, but men will say, no, men will not say that. So how do you put yourself in that mindset?
I think you as a man, you surround yourself with women like yourselves. I have a sister and a wife and cousins, and that will that will read what I write and shoot me straight, and tell me, and that's not what a woman would say, or you sound like a man saying what a woman would say. And so no, they keep me honest, and I think that's helped me a lot. As a matter of fact, right now, when we talk about what's coming up next, Terry Lovejoy, who is our female lead in all the Dying Heart series, is about to start. We're about to do a spinoff from Dying Heart, and they're going to be all Terry Lovejoy stories, where Terry is the lead and forward in the book, as opposed to being part of a collective. She is going to be her individual story. So no, you're right. That's and once you build up a mental muscle for it, it's actually quite enjoyable. It really is. It's fun.
I would agree. Yeah, in my two novels, my main characters are men, and I did give one of the female characters from the first book more of a, I highlighted her more in the second book, gave her more so people would know who she is, like her backstory. But my main characters are men, and I've had a lot of men read my books and love them, but I was surrounded by alpha males from birth, and so I, married to one, right? my dad, and my brothers. So I understand the male. When I sit and think about what is this character going to do or say, I just think about the men, not just the men in my life, but men I've seen and known. I look at behavior. I look at how people behave. I study people, the trends, the things that they do, and some of the ego-driven things, because a lot of male behavior is ego-driven. So that gives you the ammunition that you need, the foundation you need.
Oh, without a doubt. And in Dying Hard at the Inkwell, there's a lot of female characters. And I don't want to give away the ending.
Don't do any spoilers.
Yeah, no, I won't. But the ladies play a huge role in the end, both positive and on the other, and negatively as well. It's a fun thing. And you mentioned it, Gwen. It's about having knowing the reasons behind the actions, right? So men, a lot of things are ego driven, and we see this in Inkwell, where there's a lot of personalities coming together. When Lucius asks Terry to marry him, and there's an expectation that she will be kind of get away from doing personal security and be more of a wife, be more of a woman on his arm, and that kind of sets off a storm of of contention between. There are a number of, it's Martha's Vineyard, so there's a lot of money there, and there's a lot of ladies with money, and really that kind of drives what happens in the story. Irma Nanango, the woman who was murdered, is such a force. When she passes, I mean, the whole island is set in turmoil. Like, who would do this? Someone who's so well loved, and we get into a little bit of her past, like, because everybody loves her. Why would they want to kill her? So it must be someone from her past. And so there's a little bit of digging into her past, because one of the things that happens is, while Irma is very, very well loved, she doesn't have a lot of personal friends. She has a lot of people who know her and know her work and love her, but she doesn't have a lot of personal friends. Why is that? And so, yeah, getting into all those motivations behind the action, both for men and women, is good storytelling.
And when you went to Martha's Vineyard, how much time did you spend there? Were you able to, really get a feel for it?
Yeah. Because both times I was there for research. I really, one time I was only there for a weekend, and another time for like about 4 days.
Okay.
But one of the other things, I have some very good friends. Shout out to Kim, my friend Kim, who goes every year. And between interviewing her and looking at her Facebook page, it was, I probably learned more than the 2 trips I took there. But it's a beautiful place, and mystery writers always want to have like really bad things happen in really beautiful places. It's the weird nature of us. I remember the last time I was on, and Rhonda was like, "Why would you kill someone at a HBCU classic?" I can. But no, it's the dichotomy, right? This is what makes drama, right? Something really crazy going on in a beautiful, tranquil, place. So
yeah, Victoria Christopher Murray and a few other people go up there every year because they post pictures. I'm not sure what the occasion is. If they just are friends getting together, if they're going for a particular purpose.
Yeah,
But,
and there's been like
Victoria Christopher Murray is going to Martha's Vineyard.
There's some kind of event.
Yeah, there's a Black Book Festival happening. And I think it happens either right before or right after the film festival.
Right.
There's a Black Film Festival up there as well.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. It has and I'm not really sure why it's not more people don't know about it, but yeah, it has an interesting.
I don't want everybody to know about it, because then they're gonna start coming, and then it's not gonna be exclusive anymore. Next thing you know, there's gonna be people twerking in the middle of the street. We're not doing it.
Well, what I'm told is somewhat expensive, so
yeah.
if they go, they would have to pay to twerk. They have to pay.
There you go. Oh god. But no, it is a beautiful place, and it, like I said, like you alluded to, it has a very identifiable African American footprint, and so it's one of those things. Either you know a lot about it or you don't. It doesn't seem to be in between. But one of the things in the book that takes place, like I said, there's this museum exhibit that's brought about by a company called College Access. This is a nonprofit that finds scholarships for Blacks, and it's run by a woman named Juliana Thomas Eckerton. She's kind of old money, trying to assuage her old money guilt, and so she does it and she kind of tries to align herself with, Hillary Rodham Clinton and Bill Gates' ex-wife. She's one of these woke white women, right? And so one of the things that comes out of the whole college access thing is there's something not quite right about it. And maybe that has something to do with Irma being murdered. Maybe not. I don't know.
So is this is part of a series, isn't it?
Yes. So this is number 4 in the Dying Hard series. The first one was Dying Hard in the Big Easy at a fictional New Orleans jazz festival. Not Essence, but kind of reminds you of Essence.
I love the way he tells the story.
I remember you saying that last time.
The other one is Dying Hard on Gold Mountain at the Black Ski Festival. Not NBS, but kind of like NBS. The third one was Dying Hard at the Classic at a fictional HBCU Classic in Atlanta, which is, if I had a favorite, that's kind of dances around. It is my favorite because I think we just had so much fun with it. We had everything. We had a step show. We had a halftime show. We had drum majors. We had everything. And then this one, Dying Hard in the Inkwell, which I think is great because I really love this book because it has what I really like about mystery, and that is it's not just a straight story. This person gets murdered, this person did it, and we got to find it out. No, there's all these other things going on, that impact. So I love, layers to it, and this one has layers. It's what happens between Lucius and Terry. He thought this was going to be a beautiful weekend where I was going to propose to my woman, and they end up half the time fighting. There's this murder. There's this the stolen stones, which Lim Daryl is like, I thought we were on vacation and now we're working. There's this college access thing where it doesn't seem quite right. There's a couple of other things going on, and like I said, I don't want to give it away. A couple of other things go on on the island that are really weird. One of the things that happens in Dying Hard Mysteries, and even in my other series, it's called the Teak Mannion series, which is a mainstream mystery series, is that characters show up from the past. And in this one, William Clemens is kind of a interesting character from the ski trip mystery, Dying Hard on Gold Mountain. He kind of shows back up in this one, and they are not happy about it because the last time they met, people went to prison. So I do a lot of kind of bringing people back from the past, and it's fun.
Well, I like a good mystery, and my daughter loves mysteries as well. So we're gonna have to go ahead and get this set. So I can give her all of the books.
Now, did you attend an HBCU?
No, actually I didn't. But my in-laws are very deep in HBCU. They are all Fort Valley. They've taught at Fort Valley, attended Fort Valley, in Central Georgia. So I was kind of dyed in the wool by proxy.
You were surrounded by it.
Oh yeah,
so
no doubt.
Received a lot of it through osmosis.
Yeah, and Southern. I can't mention it without mentioning Southern because a lot of the family graduated Southern University, no doubt.
Okay, and did you pledge wherever you went?
I did not. And it's a point of contention between me and my brother. My brother is 18 months older than me, and he told me, "Don't pledge, you're gonna flunk. You're gonna flunk out." And by the time I realized that wasn't true, I was like almost a sin about ready to leave. So sorry about that, brother. But no, I did not pledge, unfortunately. I wish I had.
Well, you can still do it. It's not too late.
I know.
Yeah, you can do grad chapter if you desire.
Yes, a lot of Kappas in my extended family. Yeah.
Okay. So. Well, Rhonda's got her colors all behind her. She's a Zeta.
Oh yeah.
And so is my daughter. So, but I didn't pledge. They didn't have them at my school, and I actually was part of a business fraternity, but it was co-ed, and but I was the only Black person in it, and it was interesting going out in the woods. It was going out in the woods in a cabin with white people for a weekend.
You were scared, huh?
Okay. Now the writer in me is already taking notes. Okay, right. That's the beginning of the story. Okay.
I haven't thought about that for a while. It's been I haven't talked about it at all. It was interesting. It's not something that I would, I had to do it. So what I learned was because I went to Georgetown, and the president of whatever the fraternity was, I can't remember his name. His name was Peter. I don't remember his last name. But anyway, he knew the president of Georgetown, and so he got us the space in this cabin out in the woods that the guy owned. So that let
How long were you out there?
A weekend.
Wow.
A weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I had to actually deal with was at nighttime when it was time for bed and I had rollers in my hair. They were fascinated by
that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a conversation. You don't like to have a conversation about normal stuff, normal for us, but that was a conversation. They were
I
like
bet.
fascinated
bet.
by that. So
Oh no.
Delta Sigma Pi. It's Delta Sigma Pi is a business fraternity. And so anyway, but as far as sororities, we didn't have any Divine Nines at Georgetown. No.
Really?
No. They hadn't gotten on campus yet.
They hadn't gotten there yet. Wow.
And the year I graduated, there were 4 guys that formed a Q chapter.
Wow.
My year I graduated. But they probably have them all now. I'm just guessing though. I don't know. But they didn't have them. So we could have pledged at Howard. But that would have been a whole nother. I probably definitely would have flunked out then. So trying to pledge over there and try to finish school, that would have been impossible.
Where did you pledge at, Rhonda?
I pledged at Loyola University in New Orleans.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you did undergraduate, right, Rhonda? Class as undergrad. Okay, so you went through the whole process that my daughter couldn't tell me about, all the secrets.
Yeah, and I'm not telling y'all now.
I know.
Well, it's funny when we did Dying Hard at the Classic, and I love to brag that, and whenever I talk about the book, I said, "Man, I got everything. I got a halftime show, I got a step show, da 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 da." And I was at a book event, and invariably somebody comes in, "Who won the step show? Before I buy your book, who won the step show?"
So what did you say?
What to say?
No, actually, I kind of smoothed it out. I gave out like multiple trophies for originality and like that.
Oh, and that was a way to answer it.
I worked around it.
Everybody. Well, Ron, show your book cover again. We're at the end of our time. Show us your book cover, Dying Hard at the Inkwell. And it came out in February, so it's still new. And it's book number.
And we're coming up on July 4th.
Okay. So that's something for you to read in your spare time over the holidays. So congratulations on your book and continued success with your writing.
Thank you. And stay in touch, because coming out probably by the fall, Terry Lovejoy is going to have her own book. And her first story is My Ex's Ex.
Ooh, okay. Intriguing.
I have a good time.
I have a great night. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, ladies.
All right. Have a great night. Okay, so we're moving right along. And our next guest she goes by the pseudonym L.R. Jackson, even though it says Wanda Jackson on the screen. And she was on the show. I looked you up because I said, I think she's been on before. And, I have an MP4 file on every interview we've ever done, individual ones, the whole show. Then I looked at part of the last interview, and that brought all the stuff back to my memory about you being the first author with Black Odyssey Media, the first one that they launched.
Yes. And I've got to say, thank goodness you're here, because your fans have been in the comments.
They have. They've been harassing us.
They said, I must have missed my favorite author. Where is my favorite author? Where is L.R. Jackson? What is going on? Who him?
Because both of you have on the birthday.
We both have on birthday.
Both have our birthday.
Whose birthday is it?
It's both of our birthday. Okay, my birthday was last Wednesday, and Rhonda's is Saturday, this coming Saturday. So our
birthday, mine was June 8th. So we've got 2 Geminis and a Cancer.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What, are you a Gemini?
I'm a Gemini.
June 8th.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I'm a Cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother and my niece are June 8th.
Favorite people are Cancers. My dad, my sister.
Yeah,
we're the emotional people of the bunch.
Yeah. Cancers can be. See, I get along better with male Cancers than females, but but there's always
so sweet. Oh, just so sweet.
I
And make
find them to be
amazing
emotional.
listeners.
But Rodney's not emotional. I think it may be the May cancers are less emotional.
I'm emotional, but I've been learning how to control that piece of me. I'm not as emotional as I used to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to grow
that
out
side of you. I haven't really seen that side of you.
No, that's because you haven't gotten
They're all
like
close. This is nice. I should have wore a birthday hat. I don't even have one that I can remember.
Yeah, last
gave me a heads up.
Okay, well, last year the show was actually on my birthday, so I wore the hat, and then so Rhonda's it won't fall on her birthday for another maybe 3 years before
about 3 years.
So Rhonda suggested that we both wear our crowns tonight. So it's birthday week for both of us. So that's what we did. So Wanda, how did the Accidental Queen? How did that was your first book with Black Odyssey. How did everything go with that? Is it still selling? Is it still doing well?
Still selling. It's the reviews are still coming in for it. It's still one of the top stories that I've written, and I think everybody's excited for what's coming because there's 2 more parts to the Queen series. So I did release the cover to the second spinoff to it, and oh, it's so beautiful. I can't wait. Cannot wait for that one to be released. That one's called The Defiant Queen.
Oh, okay. Now you have a book that was released today.
Yes, Tainted Liberties. This is
Tainted Liberties.
This is my only non-romance book.
Okay, so congratulations and happy book release day.
Thank you.
And show the cover again. I'm trying to see what I missed some of the detail on that. Okay, Tainted Liberties.
It's a nice cover.
I like the cover. It's a split there, so that lets you know some kind
of. They wanted to go for a movie poster vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the storyline for Tainted Liberties.
So Tainted Liberties is a drama. That's the best way I can describe the genre. I struggle with trying to figure out where the book fit because it is so different and touches on so many topics. But I think drama probably is the best genre to describe it. It follows 2 families. One is a Black family, one is a white family. And it centers around pretty much every stereotype, every bias. So there's race, there's religion, there's misogyny, there's homosexuality, there's infidelity, there's age discrimination. Anything you can think of, it touches on those topics with these 2 families, and their stories all kind of weave together into one cohesive wrap up at the end. Lots of secrets, lots and lots of drama, lots of edge of your seat action.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what was your inspiration for this story? Like what?
So this story was more of a personal story. I originally self-published this story. It was titled The Land of the Free, and it had a big question mark behind it. And I wrote that story when Trump was running for office. So during that time, it was just horrible. Like every time you logged on to social media or watched the news, it was nothing but negativity. Racism was more prevalent because racists felt more comfortable to be who they are. Right. And it was just a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
Was this the 2016 time?
Yes.
Right? Okay.
So I wrote that story. It was a mini story really for my own release. I never really expected for it to be picked up by a major publisher, let alone for people to really take off with it and read it. It was more so a personal experience. And so when I signed the deal and they say they wanted it, I was like, oh, I was like, okay. So new story, new chapters, same storyline, but just added chapters, added scenes, more in depth. And that's what we have today.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's why you never know something that you've written in the past. I know we've had people on the show that wrote a book 20 years ago, or took them 20 years to write it and get it out there, and they
But you can
finally
always
have a
breathe new life
breakthrough,
into.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah, you're right about that. I was reading the comments online and just seeing things and just being out and experiencing racism as a Black woman and different things. I needed an outlet. I am a person who kind of internalizes things, which is where the creative side comes in. A lot of times when I'm feeling something, I kind of just retreat and my mind just starts doing this, and I'm just quiet. And so that was a good release and outlet, instead of being on social media arguing with every race is. And that's too much energy. It's too much energy, it becomes exhausting. So that was kind of my outlet to release some of the tension that I was feeling during that time.
Well, that's one thing I love about writing, because you can escape this crazy world we live in and then create your own world. I like to call it the what if factor. You can play what if all you want and write it down in a book and create this perfect world if you want to, or a non-perfect world. But either way it goes, you can escape reality for a little while.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or weave reality into the story. So that's
I like
always
the uniqueness of it. It's I like that it's my voice, but I'm creating a story, but I'm using my voice at the same time. And with the art of storytelling, everyone has a different voice. So when you're reading a story from an author, even though it's fiction and it's romance or even mystery, there's always something in that book that is truth to the person who wrote it.
Absolutely.
Whether it be she had a red kitchen, or it's something. It could just be one thing, but it's something. It could be one thing, many things, but it's definitely something.
Well, I want to know, so you breathe new life into a story. How do you do that? How do you go back to a story that you probably thought was just right when you first released it, and now you have to add something new to it? How do you go about doing that? Because that's a project that I'm working on, where I'm going to be breathing new life into one of my first books. And I've been sitting here like, what am I, not that I thought the book was perfect, but like, what can I do to make this book different, but still feel the same? And what can I do to I don't want to be like every other book. I don't want the book to be stereotypical, where I'm just throwing a bunch of stuff in it for drama's sake. And so I'm asking myself, how do I breathe new life into this, but still respect the same story?
So with me, I'm probably rare, and I read my stories once they're published. I know a lot of authors say they don't read it once it's out; they just move on to the next.
I've heard of actors who don't watch their movies after the movies come out.
Yes, I have to stop myself sometimes, but as I'm reading the story, something else pops in. Oh, I should have wrote that scene that way, or I should have added this, or I should have added that. So for me, I read it first, and then as I'm reading, more ideas pop in, or different ways to rearrange the story pop in, because you can write the same story 10 different ways.
Right.
So that's how I do that. But this story was challenging because there was a different mindset. When Trump was running for office, the whole world was going crazy. So, it was a different mindset then. It was frustrating. And it was different. So fast forward years later, when I'm in a completely different mindset, not even thinking of stuff that was going on in 2016 or anything about race or anything, to have to go back to that story and breathe life into it was pretty challenging. And it took a lot of focus, a lot of dedication, and just kind of putting myself back into that world.
Were there some things you had to update, like, that because time passed, technology is even slightly different?
Definitely. One of the scenes actually talks about him being in office. So there was an argument between two characters, and she's saying the president that's in office now, or the current president, and she's talking about Trump. So of course I had to change that to read it to the former president. So yeah, so things definitely change as far as technology and current presidents and different things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and
one
maybe
thing.
reading the reviews and finding out, okay, well, maybe my character was a little too soft.
Yeah, the reviews are all, it's a heavy read, which is why I put a disclaimer in the front of the book. It's not lighthearted, light and fuzzy, none of that.
Like romance is.
Yes, yes. And all of the reviews pretty much say that. Like, I didn't know what I was getting into. I'm glad I read the disclaimer. One blogger said that she finished the book on a Friday. She wanted to post a review Friday, but she needed a few days just to decompress from the story before she could come back and write the review. So it is a very heavy read. And then in the back of the book, I pose questions, thought-provoking questions to the reader, so they can kind of see where some of the dialogue came from, some of the chapters. Like, these are things that are good to discuss, discussion points. So.
Okay. Did you come up with the new title? Tainted
Yes.
Liberties? Okay.
Yes, I come up with my own titles.
Okay.
I do have a hand in my covers, as far as seeing the cover and giving feedback on my thoughts and all, but they nail it. I haven't had a cover that I don't like or that I've said, can we change it? So far, they've nailed my vision. And I think because I work so closely with them, they kind of know how I write. They kind of know what I'm looking for as far as covers and things like that. So they're able to nail it every time.
Yeah. So how's your journey so far been with Black Odyssey? Because since you were the first, author that they released a book for, how has your journey been with them, and how have you seen them grow over time? How's that?
Definitely. It's been a great journey. I have I get so much support from them, advice, and it's just a good thing to have a publisher that has your back. They definitely have grown. There's so many authors that have been added to the roster since myself. And they're doing so many different things, and I'm just proud to be a part of the team.
How does it feel? I know you said that you're proud to be part of the team, but how does it feel, being the first and then just watching the company grow the way it is?
It feels good because it lets me see that I'm on the right track. You want to be with the company that's growing. You want to be with the company that's growing. You want a leader that has a vision and that's able to act on that vision and grow the brand. That's the ultimate goal. And with the growth of the brand comes more for the company, which benefits everybody that's on the team.
You were at the National Black Book Festival last year.
I was in Texas.
Yeah, you know what? I was looking through some pictures. I mean, recently I was looking at some of the pictures from last year, and I said, "That's her."
Yeah, I was there. I was there both days. Yeah. I probably was over by the food because I kept getting up going. I couldn't wait for them to fry that fish. I was probably the first
that
one
fish
in
was
line.
popular, wasn't it?
It
I don't even think I
was.
got any fish because every time I tried to go up
Yeah.
there, they were out of fish.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
good. It was so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it was a good time.
yeah, the deacons actually run the concession at the festival. The
Oh,
deacons from the church. That's one of
okay.
their projects. One of their fundraisers that they
Okay.
do the concession for the event. And so and they decide the menu, we don't have anything to do with
Oh,
whatever.
it was a great. I think I had the fish the one time, and I can't remember what I got the
They
second
had
time.
brisket, I think.
Barbecue. I think it was barbecue.
Yeah,
Did they have barbecue?
they had brisket. Well, either last year or the year before, they've had
Okay,
brisket.
because I feel like I had both.
Okay, yeah, they cook real food. They
Yeah.
have a smoke pit or thing outside, so
Uh-huh.
they're cooking the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
So
But
tell us about your you said you had 2 more books upcoming in the series with the After the Accidental Queen. Is that you, Rhonda? Oh,
so
her sound was
I have so Tainted Liberties was released today. I have, let me see, 3 more releases through Black Odyssey Media. So The Accidental Queen is one of 3. There's spinoffs. So I have The Defiant Queen, which will be releasing. And then the 3rd installment of the Queen series, which I'm still deciding the name.
Okay.
And then I have my last story, which is about a hit woman, which is my all-time favorite of all the stories I wrote. That's my favorite story.
Like an assassin?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Oh,
she was so fun to write. The story itself was just fun to write.
I love her. I
Her
love a
name's
powerful
Haven.
female character.
Yes, and all my romance stories have powerful female characters, and they're a little different in most romance stories. The men save the day, they're heroes, but almost in all of my stories, the women have a hand in saving the day.
okay.
So I just like writing really strong heroines and powerful women. I think it's inspiring, but not writing it in a way that takes away the masculinity of the man. So I
Right.
still like the main character to be the man and to be the hero and all. What woman doesn't love reading about that? But just in the way that she supports and jumps in kind of helps the ending come together all nice.
Okay.
Well,
Now,
I mean, I think a strong, powerful female character who can still tap into her feminine side when she's with the right man shows a lot about the man. That he can be strong. Let her be strong.
Yes.
But he can still be strong enough to where she feels that she doesn't have to have that facade and she can just relax into her feminine. I love stories like that.
Yeah, I agree. I do too.
yeah, and that's true. That's true in real life. You can be strong and confident, but you still want to be able to rely on your man, your husband, whoever,
Absolutely,
to when you need him, and sometimes for him to know you need him, even when you don't necessarily have to verbalize, that that you need help, that he can see
absolutely.
you need help and step in. That's the best.
I agree.
So now, how did we may have asked you this before, but that's been a while back since we interviewed you. How did you get started with the writing? Like what inspired you? Were you writing as a kid? Some people are writing as a child or a teenager and they keep going. Some people just do it as adults, like they get an epiphany or something that encourages them to write. So how did it happen for you?
So I've been writing since I was a kid. I started out writing poems. I used to write poetry, poems. I've always been in creative spaces because I used to sing and I played an instrument. So I was always drawn to creative arts. And so I would write poetry, and then that shifted more into like storytelling, short stories, things like that. I actually won Author of the Year award my senior year in high school. I didn't know it until I was going through my senior book, and there was an article written about me in high school, and I was looking at all the scholarships and different things I had. I don't even remember winning it, but it was there. This is how long ago it's been since I graduated high school. But I wrote a short story when I was about 12, and I won the contest. There was a short story contest, but you had to travel to Chicago to get the winnings. I come from a family, I'm from a very small town, had never really been to the city, knew nothing about flying, and they just were like, no. And so I had to forfeit my award to someone else. And I said then, one day everybody's gonna read my stories one day.
Amen. So you spoke it into existence.
I did. Yep. Yeah.
Well, good for you.
And I'm guessing there's no signs of turning back. You're in this now. You are an author.
Yes, I'm in this. I'm in this.
Now, did Black Odyssey did the Tainted Liberties book, right? Okay.
It's published through,
It's published through Black Odyssey. Okay. It's just not in the series because it was a re-release, sort of re-presentation of the book. Or you redid it, it's a reboot, whatever they call it.
Yeah, so the series is the Queen story.
Right.
So it's 3 books for that.
Not part of that.
It's not part of that. No, the other 2 are not part of that series. So it's 3 books in the series and then 2 standalones. And they're not really series, they're more they're more spin-offs.
Okay.
So you can read one without reading the other, but for the better experience, it's best to read all 3.
In order, because that's where you get the backstory,
Yes. Yeah.
Because otherwise you're in the middle of the story and you don't know the backstory. And you can still move forward, especially, ignorance is bliss. So if you don't know what was back there, then it doesn't take away from the reading experience. But it's good to read the books in order. Rhonda was talking earlier about she was reading book 3 in a series, and I read the series too, is by Mary Monroe. If you really have to read the first book, you can read the other book, but you really have to read the first book in order to understand what's going on with the other 2. So if you had to say, like, what would be your dream as a writer, like for the next 5 years, what would that be? Since you've been writing so long, you've been writing your whole life.
So I have 2 dreams. Okay. I definitely want to hit a list. That's a goal of mine, whether it be USA Today or New York Times. I know there was a bunch of stuff going on with the USA Today list. The woman who ran it for so many years resigned from her position, and they didn't know who was going to be taking over it. And I know for weeks, no list went out. I don't know if anyone's back now or not, but I know it was a bunch of stuff surrounding it. So that's the first one. And then the second of all, I just love to move from book to film. Okay. That's really the ultimate goal for me.
Okay, yeah. When you hear about somebody being optioned, their book being optioned, it's always exciting. Especially for authors in this space, for Black authors. And some have labored in the vineyards for years, like Beverly Jenkins just got optioned for, I think, a series. It's for TV, but I think it might be a whole series of her books, not just one book. And she's been writing for 30 years or long
she's
time.
a pioneer.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show, like, she should have been one of the first to be optioned for film with the path that she created for us all.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
mhm.
So I'm glad that she's getting her flowers
Me
while
too.
she lives, you know.
Yes.
I agree.
So, well, Wanda, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
Congratulations on
you.
your new book release and
Thank you.
continued success.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with you. You have a great evening.
You
And
too.
congratulations.
And happy birthday to both of you.
Okay, we receive it.
All right.
Okay, well, for those of you all who may just have tuned in, we're both wearing crowns because this is the birthday week for us. My birthday was last Wednesday, the day after the show, and Rhonda's is Saturday. So we decided to both wear our crowns. And we won't have a show next week anyway because of 4th of July week. So we won't have a show next week. Our next show will be July 9th. And so just be on the lookout for the flyer. If you aren't following us on Facebook, follow us so you'll see the roster for every show. We post it early before the show so you can make plans to see the people that you want and hear from them. Okay, Rhonda,
I cannot believe how fast the month of June went by.
It's gone.
Crazy.
It's this year is going by.
It really is.
So time doesn't wait for anybody. So our final guest, this ended up being romance night, sort of, because our final guest is also a romance author. Her name is Siera London, and she's joining us for the first time. She hasn't been on the show before, but we're excited to have her on, and she has a new book out. So, Siera, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV. You need to unmute.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm
you for
delighted to be here.
Well, you came to our attention several weeks ago, and I actually ended up connecting with you through LaShera Lee, who's an agent and an author, and she represents a lot of people. And you published 40 books. That's an amazing feat in the last 9 years.
That is 40 books in 9 years. You must be doing nothing but writing.
Oh, if only that were true. It is not true, but I have been blessed that there's a lot of stories that I want to tell, and I've been able to get the words onto the page through the years.
Okay, now do you focus exclusively on romance, or do you kind of cross genres?
So I do cross genres a little bit. I have written urban fantasy, I've written crime fiction. Of course, I also have romantic suspense. So I write a little bit of everything, but I will say that romance readers are voracious. And they demand books, so probably more than other genres. So I go romance where I want readers,
to. They demand books, and they want them to fit the formula. If they don't fit the formula, they're not romance books.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, I think life has enough unhappy endings, so I'm not mad at romance readers. I mean, I'm a romance reader myself long before I was writing, so I appreciate knowing that at the end of me spending hours with this book, that somebody's going to be happy.
So, well, I guess that's one way of looking at it. I'm not really a romance reader, Although I do like Beverly Jenkins, but she does historical, and so I like the history angle that she puts in. And she does a lot. Her romance is strong in there, but she gives you some history that ties into whatever the romantic relationship is. And then at the end of the book, she explains the history that she's written into it. She gives you 3 or 4 pages of the background of whatever the event or city or whatever the situation was or the era. She gives you some backstory. So you learn a lot in her books too. So
Yeah.
so tell us how you got started with writing.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh, there's so many false starts, but I'll say this. So I was in the Navy for 23 years. I was a pediatric nurse practitioner, and I've always used books as a way to kind of deal with what's happening in real life. After a 12-hour shift of saving lives, you just need somebody to save you, to rescue you, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's what books were for me. They were like that escape. Like, it has been a bad day. I've had, great patients, but I've had some rough ones too, and some rough families. And I just need to replenish, and something just feels good. So I can do it all again the next day. And so my love for romance really came for that, because like I said, at the end of something really rough, you want something good, and romance kind of guarantees that, right? And so I've always wanted to write because I've always been an avid reader. And so when I got ready to retire from the military after like 23 years, I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a book. And I only had one story to tell, just 4 characters, 4 ladies, one book to write. And I started writing that book on my lunch break every day for like 30 minutes. And my first novel, Chasing Ava, came out of that journey of just wanting to write that one book about this one character. And she's a nurse like me, and she's a great nurse, but she just didn't trust her judgment when it came to love, because she had picked the wrong guy, and she had suffered the consequences for staying too long, right? Staying too long in a bad relationship. And I wrote that book, and I self-published it, and the readers were there. They understood Ava's journey. They understood my voice, and they asked for more. And I just kept writing from there, from having that one story to tell.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service. And Rhonda's
honored to do it
as well. And Rhonda, weren't you in the for 23 years also?
Yes, I retired from the Army after 23 years.
Okay.
All right.
Is there something about the number 23? Is that where some benefits?
Well, a lot of people retire at 20 years, or they might retire at 30 years. Okay. But I did 23. And for me, there were reasons why I did the 23. I was doing the math, and I wanted to make sure I was getting my 50% retirement. So I said, I'm gonna stay those extra couple of years. And I probably would have stayed longer, but they say, when it's time to leave, when you don't feel like you're having fun anymore. And for me, I was working on my doctorate. My book career had relaunched because I kind of stopped doing my books because I was working on my doctorate. And so since the doctorate was almost done, I started writing again. And so I'm like, okay, it's time to leave. I need to go ahead and pursue something new.
Yeah. So for us, we're dual military. So my husband was also active duty. And we had spent like 5 years apart, okay, at different duty stations. And at that time, we were in different countries.
Yes.
And you know what? And we have a great marriage, but, distance, some people say it makes the heart grow fonder. I know it's rough on the relationship. I'll say that. Yeah. And so we made the decision of like, okay, we need to put us first. And so I ended up transitioning out. My husband stayed. He did 34 years. So he just retired like early on in
34 years.
Yeah, he did 34. And it was the right choice for our family. Right. So so it worked out well for me. So I don't know if there's anything magic about 23 for everybody else, but for you and for me, it worked. So
Well, absence that can make the heart grow fonder, as the saying goes, but it can't be too long.
Yeah, distance is something. It's rough, like I said.
Yeah,
So
that would be a challenge for anybody. Having to have a relationship on I guess back then it wasn't Skype or whatever.
yeah, but I want to get back to what you were saying, Gwen. So you're talking about Miss Bev's book, and I actually just finished one of her books for an event she has coming up in July. I read Rebel, and I've been an avid fan of hers for years. But you said like how much you learn, and I feel like in any well-written book, it's more than like what's on the surface, right? Like romance, of course, is not romance is not just about physical intimacy. It's about that connection when that you make with someone when they get you on a deeper level, right? Beyond what you're just showing them on the surface, right? It's spending time with someone long enough that you can see past the veneer, past the mask. And I think in doing that well, like any romance author or author period, like you're gonna get more to the story, whether it's understanding somebody's mindset, their perception of how they see the world, about the setting that the book is taking place in, about their career. So whether it's historical or contemporary, or even a world where you're creating it, like an urban fantasy, like for the reader, just like the author, there's a lot of research that goes into that, and that's going to come through the story. Like it's very rare you read a book and you learn nothing new, right? You're going to get something out of it beyond just whatever the genre it falls into.
Yeah, that's
like
true for
it's very rare that you were going to read a book and walk away with nothing, even if it's a fiction book, even if you're not trying to give us a message, so to speak. There's always going to be something you're going to walk away with. And so I love that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like in my latest book, Fake It Till You Make It, like this is a journey about two people from very different backgrounds, right? But they're on a journey to find their authentic self. What is the voice that they want to put into the world? And it's a journey that we all can relate to, right? We have so many people in our lives and in this storybook world too, that's telling us who we are, what should be important to us, right? And where we fit in the world. And there are some people that fall into that mold and they can walk it out their whole lives. But for many of us, we have to find our own path. We have to find our own voice. We have to find what's most important to us, and how do we manifest that in the world that we live in as we walk out each day. And that's the journey that Anne-Marie and Eli are on, even though they don't realize it on the surface, right? They see themselves as being so different. Like there's no way that we can connect around anything. But when you get past the veneer, that fake it till you make it, what they're showing the world, you can see, you learn as you read the book that they're on a very similar journey.
Do you have a copy of the book with you?
Oh.
So you can show the cover.
Look, okay. All right. Can y'all see it?
Put it right in front of you.
Put it close.
Right in front of me.
Yeah. Close to your body, I think.
Yeah.
Close to my body. Okay, hold on. Look, that's
there you go.
Right there.
Right
but
there.
now it's shining and we can't see the title.
Okay, it is, but we can see.
There we go.
There you go. That's all.
Okay, look.
It was there. It was there.
We go.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Now is Siera London your birth name?
That's my pen name.
Pseudonym. Okay. I just wonder. You don't have to tell us your given name. I just wondered if Siera. Now, why did you pick Siera London? Does that have some significance?
So actually my husband and I, we worked that out together. So like I said, we both were on active duty when I started writing. And when I said I wanted to write romance, my husband was like, oh goodness. Like it's like the romances you read or or something different. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna write the story of my heart. And so he was like, I'd be more comfortable if you had a pen name. I was like, I think I might be more comfortable if I had a pen name, right? More importantly. So we are travelers. Like, even separate from the military, we are like world travelers. So I knew a destination name would be in there somewhere. And we went through all kinds of names, y'all. China, India, Montana, Savannah, like we were all over the globe trying to figure out a name. And then I was like, what about London? And he's like, oh, I like that. And it sounds kind of romantic too. Like, it's kind of cute. I was like, okay.
Oh my
and
goodness, he picked it out for you.
Yes. And the first name, so Siera was easy because I had a friend when I was in 7th grade, y'all. I'm in my 50s now. In 7th grade. And her name was Evelyn Siera. And I was like, that is the coolest name. Like, if I had to pick a new name, that would be it. And so that's where the Siera part came from a 7th grade friend who I thought, I'm like, you have a beautiful name. She just had a beautiful personality. And she was very stylish for a 7th grader, if there is such a thing. But
well, I thought you were going to say Sierra Leone, even though it has 2 R's in it. But yes, that's what I was thinking you were connecting it to. Nope. Once you told me it was about travel. But I thought it was actually your birthday. So that's why. But a lot of people write under pseudonyms because, they want to keep their work life and their writing life separate and their personal life, So
yeah. And being an author, yes, you can do it a lifetime, but it is also a professional career. And at some point we all retire, right? And it's nice to be able to maybe retire the name and still have yourself, out there in the world, like separate from Siera. Like, under my name, nobody's really asked me about books or what I do or whatever, because I do keep them pretty separate. And usually Siera has a totally different look, y'all, but I had to wash my hair right before this. Like, she has a totally different hairstyle and wears different colors and everything. But so there's a little bit of overlap today, right? Between me and Siera. We're that girl. But it is nice to have kind of a little bit of anonymity, right? So you could just move on with life if you want to, separate the two, and ultimately one will come to an end and you'll continue on.
Well, I remember reading this quote from an author, and he said the best place for an author to hide is in a bookstore reading his own book. Nobody ever expects that would be the author.
Yes. I so agree. It's so funny. So this book is Walmart has just been a blessing to me because they ordered like 43,000 copies of this book for their shelves.
Wow.
And so I had run out, and Ingram had run out, and Amazon had run out. So I'm like, I literally got to go in Walmart to buy my own book to do a book signing. And the clerk was flipping it over, and she looks at my picture on the back. And then she looks at me and she looks at that and she's like, huh. I was like, have you ever met an author and realized? She's like, I haven't. I said, you have today, because that's me and that's my book. And so she bought it right there on the spot. She's like, oh my gosh. She's like, turning to the other clerk. She's like, this is her. This is her book. She's like, I'm buying this book. I'm reading this book. So yeah, they do not expect that. Like, I'm buying my own book in Walmart.
Wow, that's
beautiful
great.
Thing, though. It's always exciting when you run into somebody, not a friend, not somebody has read the book. When you run into a complete stranger who has read your book. I remember one time I had like 2 or 3 books in my hand. Only one of them was mine. Yeah. And so I was going through the books, and a lady next to me said, that book was good. And she pointed at my book and said, you read this? She said, yeah. I said, oh, thank you. This is
yes, it never gets old. It never gets old.
It doesn't. I tell people that, because Rhonda and I are both both authors. I tell aspiring authors or brand new authors that when you get your box of books, the new book, it's exciting. It's the same level of excitement that it was when you did your first one. It never gets old, seeing it's like a baby, not exactly, but in terms of the excitement.
But it is like you birthed your baby. I mean,
it is.
We say that all the time because you nurtured this book for so many months, and
you put yourself into this project, and to see it come to life, it's very exciting.
It is. It is. And that excitement never goes away. Like every time a book like makes it out of my head onto the page and I get to like tear it apart and make it better, it's always exciting for me. I mean, it's work, y'all. Don't get me wrong now. Aspiring writers out there, it is work to get this book out of your head and then tear it apart and make it better. And all the things that happen with, editing and revision. But it's a beautiful thing to hold your book, to share your perspective on a story or character and have other people enjoy that with you. It's wonderful.
It is. And something else that's exciting when I'm out with my books, and I'll have not all of them. I normally will have at least 10. But when I say these are my books that I wrote, they say, wow, you wrote all these? Because my books are different genres. So they're very varied. And so, I mean, the covers are different because it's based on, like the children's books have a children's book cover. But then, the adult books or I have some self-help, spiritual. I have a lot of different genres that I write under. And so that's exciting too. When people you get to meet people who will buy your book because you wrote it. Not necessarily because they may not even read it. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. But they just want to support you.
They just want to support you.
Yes.
And I appreciate people who support, but I love when they actually read the book.
Me too.
Agreed.
And
agreed.
Meeting with book clubs is a really fun thing to do, because then you get multiple perspectives at one time. That's very exciting. So
yes, I love book clubs. I love being invited to a book club discussion about my book. And I know sometimes folks can be hesitant, but for the most part, I feel like we as authors have pretty thick skin, right? And so I appreciate other people's perspective on my characters, whether I agree with them or not, because, ultimately I did write the story the way I saw best. But it is nice to get other people's perspective on your characters. And sometimes it's just enlightening for me to see what readers get out of my story. Sometimes they open up avenues in my mind that I never considered for characters.
Right.
So that's the beauty of publishing and sharing your stories with the world.
That's true. And sometimes I know I met with the book club recently. It's been in the last month or so, on my newest novel, Exodus from Treachery. And while we were talking about the book, she pointed something out that was an error. It was the wrong name. It should have been Stephanie and it was Shirley, or vice versa. And I had an editor read it. Before I got out, I read it. I had multiple book clubs read it. Nobody else found it was a mistake that was easy to overlook, which is why it got overlooked. But because I published my book under Amazon KDP, I fixed it. You can fix an error and re-upload the ebook, and I didn't have that much inventory. So, but this lady, and in fact, it was only one person that noticed it. The other people didn't notice it, and we were talking about it, and they said that she's the person that that can find anything, like a needle in a haystack. She's one of them members.
I love that.
I appreciated it because I was able to fix it, and then, but people, you can read over errors in major books. They have mistakes. I find them all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up.
Publishers.
I agree.
I was surprised. I was surprised she found it because I read my books word for word before. Like I'm the last. I have an editor, and then once her editor done, I go back and get approved. I read my book word for word. You know, so I can catch any little things here and there before I release it. And so it just happens. So Siera, now you have 40 books. Are these all individual? Is it a series? Do you have series?
That's a great question. So I do have 8 different series.
8?
I have 8 different series, and all of my books can be read as standalones. That's just the way I write. I want a complete story. I'm not the best with cliffhangers, y'all, so I tend to not write them. So if you pick up one of my books in any of the series, where you start is going to be a complete book, and you can go back and meet the other characters that mentioned. But I love crossing story worlds. So even if you start with like Chasing Ava, which is the Bachelors of Shell Cove series, if you go and read my Lunchtime Chronicles series, you'll see that Lucy's bridal shop is in the same town where Ava lives. And if you make it to book 5, you'll see that Lucy helped design Ava's wedding dress. And you'll see that Ramsey in the Lunchtime series, you'll see him in the Men of Endurance series, which is my small town series that features all single dads, right? Finding their happily ever after, the Men of Endurance. So there's a subtle overlap between the settings, and I try to connect character worlds across series. Like maybe you went to college with this person, or you work with them at some point, and you'll see them pop up in another series. You go, oh, I remember that character from the other series, and now they have their story. So I enjoy doing that, just because, again, romance is about connection and intimacy, right? So, but it's not just physical intimacy. It's feeling like, I know this place, I know this town, I know these people, more than just the couple you're reading about. Like, oh, I know her mom, I know her dad. And so to be able to see them maybe at an earlier point in their lives or with different characters, it just enriches the journey for me as an author, but also as a reader. Because I'm my first reader. Like you said, when you read your books, you are your first reader. I'm my first reader too.
Yeah, I read them word for word because I want to make sure that mistakes are non-existent or minimal, at least, because I'm a stickler about that. If I pick up a book and it's not edited, I'm gonna be out of there. I'm not gonna keep going. And I just can't, it just, obvious mistakes. I don't mean like little things, but obvious things. Tony Benita said The Men of Endurance is a good series. Tony Benita is one of our regular viewers, and she's also president of a book club.
Thank you, Ma Tony. I appreciate that.
So you know Mama Tony.
I do. Like I said, I've been around a minute now.
Okay, well, yeah, she knows everybody.
She does, and she's good to us all too. So you're gonna remember her.
Yes. Now your new book, Fake It Till You Make It, is it part of a series?
So this is the first book in the series. This is a new series, right?
Okay, all right.
Yes, and Anne-Marie and Eli's story is first. Noah and Rachel up next. So that's basically the boy next door, girl next door, farmer's daughter. So there's a few fun things in there to play with. But yes, it's the first book. It's a 3-book deal. So this book is my first traditional release. So my previous books are all indie published. So this is my first traditionally published book with Avon, which is an imprint of Hachette.
Okay. Oh, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Moving into the the big league, so to speak. So
well, look, big leagues are where you make them, right? So I am not sleeping on my indie brothers and sisters and friends, because the beautiful thing about writing is we as readers, we just want a good book, y'all. We don't care if you published it, if your mama published it, the lady next door,
true.
Big press, small press. We just want a good story. And yeah, so I think all that other stuff, like, that's a part of the business side of it. But from a reader standpoint, like, they're like, oh, I'm going to read this book because Siera traditionally published. No, I wanted to read it because you love my voice, you love my stories, and you trust me with your time.
Okay, well, Siera, it was great meeting you, and thank you for being a guest on the show, and continued success with all of your writing. You have an amazing career you've had.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure, ladies. And like, I'll see y'all between the pages, right? We got to get these books written.
Okay. You're right.
Between the pages.
Yes. Bye now.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you.
Well, that is a wrap for this week's show. As we mentioned earlier, we won't have a show next week because it's 4th of July week, but we'll be back July 9th with another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.